Today I have with me the Kilgharrah by Valimor. I would like to thank Raymond Jones, the founder of Valimor, for sending in this watch to the channel for review. Valimor is a Hong Kong micro brand that has patents on their designs in UK and Europe, and I think, as you can tell, their designs draw heavy inspiration from medieval times, as well as the fantasy world, King Arthur, Merlin, Warcraft, Lord of the Rings, and there's a lot that goes on in terms of the intricateness of the dial, the intricateness of almost everything that you can see, especially in this Kilgharrah model. And there's a lot to unpack in terms of design, but I would like to first start off by saying that I always believe that if you start a micro brand, you do have to have a theme. You do have to have sort of something that you can have identified with your brand. So for example, when I spoke about the RZE, they focus on titanium watches. I think Valimor, they are focusing a lot on this sort of medieval design, and that is really a great thing to see. It is really not for everyone, I would say, but if you appreciate that, if you are like me, growing up with games such as World of Warcraft, movies such as Lord of the Rings, I think you will really appreciate what this watch is. And honestly, it is really just a very fun piece to wear. So maybe let me do this. Let me get into the packaging first. So your Valimor watch will come shipped in this sort of cardboard material, and this will be the main box. So when you open it up, of course, you will have your watch inside here, but you also have some other documentation in this pouch. And this is really quite unique and very cute, I must say. And it adds a little bit of a nice touch to receiving a watch. So let me get into this first. What's inside? I did not expect this, but it is basically a thank you card. But it is not just a card, because when you flip it open, what you can see is some pictures. You can see like sort of a story of King Arthur, the battle with dragons, battle with goblins, orcs, forging of the swords. So this is really something that I did not expect with a watch purchase. But it's a nice little added touch, It really lightens the mood. Sometimes I think watch enthusiasts like ourselves, we can get a little bit carried away with the seriousness of the hobby, yeah? So it's good that we're having some fun here. And of course, you will have your authenticity certificate. So your serial number is over here, yeah? And over here is your instruction/warranty manual. Okay, so pretty much I never read through all these, but I'm really impressed by what they did here. I think that, after having this watch for a while, and also through this unboxing experience that I had when I received the watch, I can see the passion that goes into this brand. There are a lot of brands who just try to churn out watches for the sake of of earning money. Of course, Valimor is no different. Profits are definitely important, but you can see the love for the medieval times, the love for fantasy being portrayed in their pieces. So let me get through the specs before we go into the many details of this watch. So first and foremost, this watch is a 40mm case diameter watch, which is a very good Goldilocks size. The thickness is 13mm without the crystal, but the crystal barely protrudes out. So I would say that adds perhaps another 0.5mm. The lug to lug is quite a wearable 47mm long. The lug width is 22mm, and the bezel is a 60-click uni rotating bezel. So the bezel has, I like 60-click bezels. Somehow they feel a little bit more substantial than 120-click bezels. So of course everything lines up, no issues. Backplay, there's a slight backplay, but it's nothing major because it's a 60-click bezel. So you won't sort of put it in the wrong indentation, and everything lines up over here. Yeah, There's a sapphire crystal with 3 coats of anti-reflective coating. The water resistance on this watch is 100 meters, and it is powered by the Miyota 8315. So that's a very good movement choice over, the normal NH34s and whatnot. The 8315 Miyota movement has a power reserve of 60 hours, and that is really commendable for a watch that is costing between, I would say, 300 to 400 euros, depending on whether you get the bracelet configuration or the rubber strap. Yeah, and also every watch is limited to 50 pieces, at least for the Kilgharrah range. So as you can see, there's a engraving here, limited edition number 35 over 50. So I really like that this is done at this area, because when you're wearing your watch, right, you're able to have a look at that sort of literature there, and that's a nice little touch. Of course, most brands just put it on the case back here, but I really think that this was a perfect spot for a lot of brands to learn from, and to place sort of nice text over here so that the owner of the watch can enjoy it as well. What else is there? Okay, so something very unique which I've not come across before in any other watch is that this crown here has this is not just a plastic stone, this is a Swarovski crystal. So that is just so amazing, right? I mean, it's not something that is needed, but when you wear this watch, somehow it gives you that sort of a unique feeling towards it. It's not just about being a tool. It is really something that the owners and the makers and the designers of the watch put their heart and soul into, and this is evident throughout the design language, throughout every single detail that went into the production of this watch. So I think with all those specs out of the way, maybe I can draw your attention to certain elements of this piece that I really feel is commendable for Valimor's team. What they're doing is they're not just making random watches just to turn a profit. So if you look at the dial here, as you can see, there are 3 layers to this dial. So the main dial area has this sort of like dragon scale texture, which is in line with their brand philosophy. And after that, you have sort of first, I would say, like a mini chapter ring thingy with gold balls to indicate the different hour markers. And at the outer chapter ring, you can see this patterning as well. So these are not printed on, mind you. These are real sort of textured designs that go into the dial. And I think that is really evident of the love and passion they have for what they do. This is no simple watch. This is really sticking to that medieval theme, sticking to that King Arthur slaying the dragons era. Yeah. And if you look at the hands, I would say they are sort of sword hands, and the second hand has a counterweight with, I guess this is a Valimor, I guess is one of their logos, or it's an arrowhead. So you really get the full punch of medieval design from this watch. And even the bezel, if you look at the bezel here, you can see that it is sort of serrated in a way that it is reminiscent of I felt that it feels like a dragon's tail. So that's really pretty cool as well. And one good thing is that it does not have sharp edges, even though it has such a sharp design, I would say. So I'm loving the whole package, and they are really sticking to it. They're sticking to this medieval theme. And even when you move on towards the side, the case, like I mentioned, the Swarovski crystal there, it really adds the extra touch and extra sort of feel towards the watch. And it's not just a watch, but it is something that that the designers put in all their heart and soul into. And moving to the back, there's also this sort of serrated finish, which is also reminiscent of a reptilian skin, or rather dragon skin. And the counterweight here, I mean the rotor here, is very nicely decorated with this gold plating finish and sort of Valimor design. So that's really a nice touch as well. Moving on to the rubber strap. As you can see, this rubber strap has also design elements here. This is like a coat of arms, I guess, and it's present on both sides, the 12 o'clock as well as the 6 o'clock area. And moving on to the buckles, you have Valimor branding here, a logo, and the clasp is not only sort of textured in a medieval pattern manner, it's also patinaed. So there's this like DLC coating which has this patina feel to it. So it does remind you of the great swords that were used in battle 2000 years ago, yeah? So I think that, wow, is every single part of this watch has that element of the medieval times, the fantasy world, Lord of the Rings, and I'm really on board with this. When I received the watch initially, I thought that it would be a little bit much, but slowly you tend to notice all these small things, like I mentioned, the dial with the 3 tiers, the bracelet, the sort of rubber strap, so my apologies, not bracelet, the designs here, the buckle, and then you notice that, oh, the bezel is actually, this is like a dragon's tail, and then you notice that, oh, you know, there's the counterweight of the second hand is trying to give you that vibe of the era as well. So I think that after you use this for a while, I'm slowly falling very much in love with this piece. I know it's a little bit out there, it's not for everybody, but if you are, you know, the more fun-loving sort of watch collector, please give Valimor a chance. This is something that you will appreciate when you have it on wrist. And of course, you know, Swarovski crystal, that sort of thing. That's a very, very nice touch. So this is how it wears on my 6.5 to 6.75 inch wrist, depending on the time of the day. I think it fits perfectly. 40 millimeters is, of course, a very good sweet spot for most people. The rubber strap is also very comfortable because there is a natural curve to it. So even when you get it out of the box, it will already have sort of a curve here at this area. So it will conform to the wrist very easily. There's pretty much no break-in time for the rubber strap. And you're getting a limited edition piece where there are only 50 made per variant. So I really implore you guys to check out Valimor and really have a look at all the ranges that they have. This is the Kilgharrah, but of course they do make other models as well. And if you enjoy what I enjoyed when I was a kid, Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft, that sort of thing, orcs, elves, you know, dragons, demons, you will definitely appreciate what Valimor has done with this piece. Another thing I want to show you guys is the lume for this watch. This has Swiss Superluminova for the lume, and as you can see, it has lume applied on the indices, the hands, and also the bezel. So this has really great lume, and I would say that it's one of the best lume that I've seen in my collection, in my watch collection. So really good job, Valimor, in terms of the lume. So thank you guys for watching. This has been a review of the Valimor Kilgharrah on my 6.5 to 6.75 inch wrist. This is Tick Back Time. Thank you guys, take care, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.